So how do you use a VPN on your Apple TV? Maybe you went to the App Store and searched for your VPN and were surprised when there was no app. And then maybe you went to the settings panel and you're looking for that VPN option like your iPhone has, but it doesn't exist. So how do you use a VPN on your Apple TV? Now, there's a few methods for setting up a VPN on your Apple TV. I'm going to be using NordVPN in today's video, but the methods are pretty much the same on Surfshark, ExpressVPN, and other common VPNs. NordVPN gives you three choices. The first one is to connect to your VPN on your Wi-Fi router. This is going to be the most complicated, but it's also going to give you the best result because your Apple TV can just stay connected to your home Wi-Fi network and it's going to run through your NordVPN server of choice. This will allow you to access region-specific content based on which server you connect to. The second option is to use your laptop as a router and share that Wi-Fi connection with your Apple TV. Now, I wouldn't recommend this for most people because you can't do it on Mac. It's only supported on Windows, and if you have an Apple TV, I think you probably have a Mac as well. So I'm not going to cover how to do that in this video. The third option is to set up SmartDNS. This is the recommended option if you are located outside the US and you want to stream content inside the US. You cannot change this location, so if you're in the US and you use SmartDNS, there's really no point because your location is still going to be in the US. SmartDNS is very simple to set up on the Apple TV, but it's technically not a VPN connection. All it's going to do is change your location to the US, but it doesn't encrypt your browsing traffic and it doesn't hide your IP address like a normal VPN connection would. To set up SmartDNS, you'll start by logging into your NordVPN account online. You'll need to enable SmartDNS in the panel and make sure you whitelist your IP address, which the panel will automatically suggest and fill in for you. Surfshark, ExpressVPN, and other common VPNs have a similar feature to SmartDNS, and most of them also require you to log into the panel and whitelist your IP address to get started. On your Apple TV, go to the Settings app and scroll down to Network. And then select your network. In my case, I'm connected with Ethernet, so I'll just select this. And I'm gonna go down to Configure DNS. Now I'm going to set this to manual. And here we can put in the IP address that NordVPN gives us for SmartDNS. So the primary IP address is 103.86.99.103. So I'm just gonna put that in here really quick. Once you get the IP address in, you can select Done, and then there's no secondary IP address on Apple TV. Some devices will give you that option, but NordVPN says it's optional, so just worry about the one IP address with your Apple TV. So now that SmartDNS is set up on your Apple TV, you'll be able to access region-specific content in the US only. So if you're in the US and you want to access shows in the UK or Canada, you're going to have to follow the steps to set up NordVPN on your router. Here's how you do that. The steps are going to vary widely based on the router that you have, but most VPNs are capable of connecting to a Wi-Fi router. And just a quick note, your ISP provided router is not going to be compatible with the VPN. This is the router that your internet company sent you when you started service with them. So if you've been using their router and you haven't purchased your own, you're going to need to get your own router for this to work. Also, there are many routers that do technically support a VPN, but they require you to flash a custom firmware in order for it to work. I would not recommend doing this unless you're an advanced user and you're really comfortable with networking because there's a lot that can go wrong. There are several Asus, Linksys, and Netgear options that do support connecting to a VPN without any third-party firmware. I'll have a couple router options linked below at different price points. Here's how I connected my Asus router to NordVPN. You'll start by going to your router's control panel. The address for it is usually located on the back of the router or the bottom of the router. In my case, it's router.asus.com, but it could be something like 192.168.1.1 or another IP address. In your router settings screen, look for something that says VPN. On my Asus router, it's in the sidebar. Once I click the VPN tab, I'm going to click the VPN Fusion tab at the top. On your router, it may also be called VPN Client. Start by setting up a VPN profile and give it a name. This can be something you'll remember, but I would recommend adding the location name because you may set up multiple profiles with different locations later on. For VPN type, select OpenVPN from the dropdown, and your username and password you're going to find in the manual configuration screen on your NordVPN account. After this, go to the NordVPN servers page and select your location of choice. From there, download the OpenVPN UDP profile. Back in your router's settings panel, you can import the OpenVPN configuration file, and once you save the profile and enable it, all of your Wi-Fi traffic will now be routing through your NordVPN server of choice. From there, you can set up multiple profiles with different locations, and just keep in mind that whatever profile you have enabled, all of your Wi-Fi traffic on all of your network is going to route through that server. Your router may not natively support VPN connections, but there might be a custom firmware that you can flash on your router, and this will allow you to set up VPN access. DDWRT is a common third-party firmware that allows you to enable VPN access on many routers. But I do want to note, this is for advanced users only. There are risks to flashing your router. You may end up bricking it and have to restore it to its factory firmware, and there's a lot that can go wrong, so I would not recommend this unless you're very comfortable with networking. If you don't have a VPN yet and want to know which one is right for you, check out my full comparison video here.